Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for your Leeds versus Burnley post-match chat. Leeds United are 8 points clear of the relegation zone after beating Burnley 3-1 at home. 2022 has got off to a great start for Leeds United. And I hate to say I told you so, but I knew we'd win. Do you know what? I'm elated. I can't lie. I'm really happy. Part of the reason I'm going to put this down to is because there's so much doom and gloom. There is so much doom and gloom. People say I'm too positive, you know what I mean? But this is me. I can only be positive because that's when I go to a football game, to be positive. Otherwise, what's the point in me going? That's just where my head's at. I don't go into football games expecting us to lose, wanting to lose. It's just not in my makeup. I want us to do well. And do you know what? Like, normally, after we lose a game, I can go on YouTube, right? I can check the comments, and people are coming for me, calling me deluded, calling me this, calling me that. There was none of that today. Why? Why, when we win a game, aren't people coming for me? Saying, do you know what, Joe? You were right. Look, smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in, and, of course, hit that notification bell. Loads to get into today. Loads to be optimistic about. You know, Stewie D, King D. I like that. Yeah, King D. Robin Koch, Matthias Click, Joe Gelhardt, Junior Firpo. We'll pick the bones out of it all. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just elated. I am elated that Leeds United have got 3 points, and it puts a bit of daylight between us and the relegation zone. Because I've said since the season started, we won't get relegated. You guys know that. Do I think we're out of the woods? No. I said exactly the same after we got some positive results prior to this run we were on. You know, that gives us some gap, but we're not out of the woods. This has happened again. We're not out of the woods. Do you know what I mean? We've got West Ham coming up. I'd take a point. What I'm trying to say is, over the course of the season, Leeds United will be okay, right? But it's going to be up and down. It's going to be topsy-turvy, and it's all about resetting for next season. Hopefully we can bring some additions in January, and I think the club will make moves, and that'll make it even better. You know, that'll for sure make it even better. But it is just going to be one of those seasons for me. But listen, loads to be optimistic about. Leeds United got their first free goal haul, you know, 3 goals this season, which is nice. We've seen elements of Beelzebub throughout the game. Maybe in dribs and drabs, but it was better, you know. We are unbeaten in all but one game against teams placed 8th and below. And I think off the top of my head, that's Southampton. We have a decent record at home. You know, I said all this pre-match, and it came to fruition, you know. We've only lost at home to the likes of West Ham, Leicester. No, sorry, that's wrong. West Ham, Liverpool and Arsenal. That are all competing for top 6. Do you know what I mean? So we ain't in that much bad shape. It's just we hit such a bad run. We knew before the season started the December run was brutal anyway. We've been given a little bit of respite, and it showed today. For me, it showed because Matthias Click, who's looked like a bit like a done horse, like boom kind of vibe, was back to his best. You know, I love Matthias Click, and it was class to see. I even thought in that first half he was one of the shining lights for me personally. You know, I thought he'd been really good. And he created twice as many chances than any other player in the Leeds United side or in the game itself. Obviously, Burnley didn't create much because all they did is hit the big man, Chris Wood, up top. That's one thing I will say. I was very surprised Deitch made the switch and brought on Rodriguez and Vidra because they lost anything they did have. Wood did cause us problems, arms and elbows. He's very cute. He's experienced at this level. There was a lot of fans in and around me screaming to high heaven every time he kept leading. That's a foul. This is a foul. And I get all that, but it's very cute. It's what he's good at, right? I was very surprised when Deitch made that switch because Vidra and Rodriguez offered nothing. All Rodriguez did got into a war of words with Llorente, and he just got loads of stick. So yeah, you know, I think Burnley just do what Burnley do. You know, at half-time, I said, like, we can't lose to these. They're terrible. They are really, really bad. Like, Ben Mee and Tarkowski normally are okay, but like they were woeful in that first half. They were gifting us chance after chance. I will say, if Joe Gelhardt starts, we have more than one goal in front at halftime. Believe me. I like Tyler Roberts. I love Tyler Roberts, but he's so frustrating and should have scored. Should have scored that header. He should have scored that header for sure. When I think it's crossed in by either Dallas or Rayling. He just cuts a frustrating figure for me. And Joe Gelhardt came on and gave us some. And what a ball it was for the James goal. You know, we'll go through in some more in-depth detail. But this is just off the cuff. Like, you know, I think, yeah, Ben Mee, Tarkowski, woeful. There was once in the first half where, like, the ball's come over and Ben Mee's just, like, tried to, like, overhead it behind him and it's just gone straight up in the air. And genuinely, that is something I would do at Sunday League level. Like, that was something. I'm not great. Do you know what I mean? I would just hit it. It would go in the air. Like, and I thought, this is what we're up against. We have to beat these today. They are pretty woeful. And it proved to be the case, you know. I think in the second half, for me, yes, they came out strong. Yes, Maxwell Cornet got his goal. It was a good free kick. Didn't look as great in the ground, but seeing it back, it was well taken. His dance moves, I mean, he was giving it all this. Believe me, I get very animated. And, like, when we'd scored that third, I had to stop myself running down to the front just doing this. Because I was thinking, you're giving it all this. It was 1-1. Like, what are you doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, when Brentford went 2-1 up and Sergio Canos did it, they're 2-1 up. They're winning the game. 1-1, bro. What are you doing? And it proved to be the case, man. You know, you do that. And then look, you know what I mean? And it was so fun. And like, I swear the cop was singing, "You're not dancing anymore." But by the time it made its way around the ground, it had changed to singing. But I swear it was dancing. I swear it was dancing because like, it really pissed me off. Like, he's doing this. And then like the referee told them all to get away. A bottle gets thrown. And then he goes back and does some more of this. Like, what are you doing? You were 1-1. 1-1. It was a well-taken free kick. It may be a little bit bitter. He is a decent player. But, yeah, you know, if you're going to come with your dance moves and give us some sauce, like, make sure you win the game. Otherwise, you're going to end up with egg on your face. Or in Lawton's case, a bottle on your head. Look, I'm not condoning that. I'm not condoning that. Not whatsoever. Like, yeah, don't be throwing stuff. Because, for one, like, you could end up getting a lifetime ban. Nah, nothing's taking me away from Ellen Road for a lifetime. That'd be brutal. So try keep your heads if you can. But yeah, look, let's go through the game in some more detail. I thought the first 15 minutes in the first half worked great. And I had like thoughts running in my head because I've been speaking to Lucy and her partner before the match. And, you know, you can tell with Leeds United in that first 15-minute spell whether or not we're going to have a good game. And I thought, this doesn't look great. Charlie Taylor down the left-hand side, he was getting a load of stick, and I just had vibes of him coming back to haunt us because he's a decent left-back. I do rate him. One of the players within that Burnley side, I do rate. But, yeah, it wasn't great. And then Leeds started to get into the groove. Obviously, Roberts, for me, had a number of chances. Made the wrong decision a host of times, too many slack passes. And it is really, really frustrating. And I do feel really sorry for him because I'm really willing to do well. Like the ball, when it gets crossed over, I can't remember I think it was Dallas, and we'll get on to Dallas in a little bit more detail. But he's got to score that with a header. It goes wide, and well, in match reports or whatever it might just mean it was well wide. Like he had to at least hit the target. Didn't, you know, and obviously that's going to hamper his confidence because we know that Tyler is a massive confidence player. And yeah, I just feel really bad for him, man, because I'm willing him and want him to do well. But look, yeah, I think it was Tarkowski. Again, as I mentioned, Ben Mee and Tarkowski were making all sorts of errors. Tarkowski tries to clear it. Harrison follows up, does well. And at that point, you know, we haven't really tested Wayne Hennessy. And I remember saying, like, and there's a lad in front of me that said, like, it's pissing down the surface. Just zip some shots at him. Wayne Hennessy, second choice as well. Not a great goalkeeper. Obviously, Nick Pope, I think, might have COVID or could be injured, one of the two. And Harrison does have a goal. Like, when he picked that up, in my head, and I'm saying, just have a go. Just have a go, Jack. Because we'd seen too many of, like, trying to be too cute, trying to lift it over to Rafinha, tried to do cutbacks, doing too much. There was too much of that. Sometimes you try walking. I'm just have a go. hits it with his left foot. It's a decent save. And do you know what? Like, it probably is underrated, but for him to hit it first time with his opposite foot, his weaker foot, his right foot, and just get it on target in the back of the net, is a decent skill. And Leeds United are leading, 1-0 at half time. And I think in that first half, for me, we played a small resemblance of Beelzebub in certain attacks, and it was nice to see. Half time, I'd said pre-match, we get a goal either half, we're home and dry. And then obviously Burnley came out and they started well. They started to press us up front. Maxwell Cornet came on and played up front alongside Wood, and they get a free kick. And it's a decent free kick. It is a decent free kick. Meslier left too much gap and he goes round the outside of the wall, but it's a decent goal. And obviously at that point, it's like, oh no. Like, we can't drop points to Burnley at home if we are going to stay up and stay clear of a relegation dogfight. Like I've said, we're not out of the woods, but if you lose today, you're in the dogfight. I still would have sat here and said to you, we won't get relegated, and I'd have been called deluded and all the names under the sun. But you just can't lose if you want to come away from that dogfight. And thankfully, Leeds United turned it on. I want to give special mention to Robin Koch. I thought Robin Koch, because obviously in the Kop, they were shooting towards us. The Kop in the first half, second half, Burnley was shooting that way. And I got to see Koch and Llorente up close. And I thought Koch did a brilliant job up against Wood. He did a lot. Llorente didn't win anything in the air, and I've never seen quite a poor header of a ball, if I'm being totally honest. He's more preoccupied with bringing the player down as opposed to actually getting his nut on it. But Koch did really, really well against Chris Wood for me. I thought Firpo had a fantastic game, another great game in the bank for him. And finally, we're trying to see, or we're starting to see more of what we paid for. Because I thought he was great today. And I even seen a lot of communication. There was one point he came over to Meslier. He was in his ear. I think he was pointing over to the left, because in the second half, when Burnley were coming on, we had James was on his own. And James is beating anyone in this league for pace, 9 times out of 10. So I think he was saying, let's get it out to the left, because Meslier, look, sometimes it's frustrating when he keeps hold of the ball and he tries clipping it out to the wings, and it's just no go. It's just no good. So he had a great game. Like I say, Click was back to his best. And then we'll get to Stewie D, King Stuart Dallas. It was his 250th appearance for the club. What a servant he has been as well, especially when you consider his early stages, when he was brought in as a winger. I think it was Uwe Rosler, or was it Steve Evans, one of the two? And he's just not a winger, is he, really? What we expect from a winger anyway when you compare him with, say, Rafinha, who, by the way, was poor today. Rafinha did miss a sitter as well, especially by his standards. I know it was on his weaker foot, but I thought Rafinha was really, really poor. But it's a good sign for Leeds United, the fact that we've won the game, we've scored 3 goals, and Rafinha's not been involved. That can only be a good sign, right? Because in the early parts of the season, it was a one-man team. But yeah, look, Stuart Dallas, first Leeds player to reach 250 appearances since Lucas Radebe, and that was back in 2003. And there's actually like a whole host of names that he's gone into the history books alongside that have managed to score on their 250th appearance. John Charles back in 55, Billy Bremner in 66, Mick Jones in 73, Rod Wallace in 98, and now Stuart Dallas in 2022, which is huge for him to be in them names. Do you know what I mean? That's history right there. And he's a history man because he will be regarded within this squad that got us back to the promised land, that everyone wants to all of a sudden say, no good, we should sell them all, yada, yada, yada. These will be etched in history. And Stuart Dallas is one of them players, and I love to see it, man. Big shout out, King D. Loved it. And what a goal it was, by the way. What a goal it was. It was a corner. Rafinha into Click. It was worked, obviously, on the training ground. Lays it off to Stuart Dallas, hits it with his left foot. Beautiful. Beautiful. Like, seeing it from where I was in the cup as well, you just knew. Like, the ground went quiet, and I just said, get in! And it went in. What a moment. What a moment for Stuart Dallas. What a goal. Yeah, great, man. 250 appearances and a goal to mark the occasion as well. Then obviously we get the winner, Joe Gelhardt, and Dan James come on and did cause problems. Joe Gelhardt, I remember at one point tried to take about 4 players on. That kid is special. He is a star boy. Like, genuinely, that guy it's just immense, man. It's unreal for such a young lad. Like people that were in the ground, I don't know if it conveyed onto TV, but the noise when he was called back from warming up to take his drill top off and strip off to get ready to come on, the noise was palpable. And I said at the time, this kid's 19, and the noise when people knew that he was actually coming on. And then when he makes a substitution, that must just fill that guy with so much confidence. And it shows how much of a talent he is and how high we regard him as a fan base. The fact that the noise went up another decibel, even when he just got, told, come on, you're getting on. Do you know what I mean? And that shows the talent that this guy has. And we're well aware of it. We can see it as a fan base. And I am going to, I have said on previous videos, he's been managed correctly, but while Bamford's out, he needs to be leading the line for me. He needs to be leading the line because I don't want to. I'm trying to remain positive on all aspects, but for me, had Gelhardt had the opportunities that Roberts found himself in, we'd have had more than one goal in that first half. That's just my opinion. I may be wrong. It's easy with hindsight and all that sort of stuff, but I do believe that. But anyway, Joe Gelhardt's involved in the third goal. Obviously, we make it 3-1 in injury time. What a ball, by the way. Being in the ground doesn't do it quite justice. You watch it on replays and you're like, wow, he's picked him out. And Dan James wins a header against Burnley. Who'd have thought that was a thing? Dan James, smallest player on the pitch, wins a header against Burnley. But it was all about that ball. Hennessy needs to do better, doesn't he? Probably slippy ball, wet surface, all that sort of jazz. But he's not their number one for a reason. I'm a little bit disappointed BPF didn't play because we might have won the game more. Not might have, we will have. But yeah, look, Dan James scores a header and makes it 3-1. Absolutely buzzing. What a ball from young Joffy. Just a great day at the office. A great day at the office. Forshaw, again, immense. There's loads that I haven't mentioned. Ayling played well. Stuart Dallas had a man of the match performance. But, this is all just comes out. And I'm just happy now because that's 8 points, right? That is 8 points gap. We now have the FA Cup. And to be honest, the situation we find ourselves in, I don't give two hoots. Mix it up, play the kids. If we go out at the London Stadium to West Ham, I'm not really bothered. Genuinely. Had we been in a different position in the league, higher up, then of course, yeah, let's go win the game. But for me, it's all about making that gap bigger. So for me, play the kids and then we get more back. Bamford should be back. I heard he was in the squad pre-match. Then Greenwood gets brought in. I don't know what's happened there. It might just be hearsay. Look, I was told Strag was starting and he weren't even in the squad. So it shows that my sources ain't the best. But forget about the FA Cup for me. We know Bielsa done put cups up here anyway. And then get back and go to the London Stadium with a fully fit squad and try get a point. Try get a point against West Ham because that'd be huge. And then we got Newcastle at home. That's another massive game. But again, our record against teams in the bottom is great. Only lost once, anyone outside of the top 8. Home record is decent. Only lost against teams in the top 6. We are doing okay. Get some additions in January. Build on this result. And we're going to be fine, man. We'll climb up the table and come the end, maybe we'll be like, do you know what? What were we all worried about? But we ain't out of the woods yet. I just say that. But I'm just happy elated. Because it's okay to be positive, Yay! It is okay to be positive, Anyway, I've rambled on enough. I hope you liked the video. Please do like it. Subscribe to the channel. Get your comments in. Hit that notification bell, yeah? And I'll see you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace out. Leeds!